There are moments in life that completely change the way we see the world. Moments so profound that they challenge everything we thought we knew about existence, death, and the unseen forces at work around us every day. My name is Adeline Gibson, and what I'm about to tell you completely shattered everything I thought I knew about life, death, and the unseen forces constantly at work around us. Before this experience, I was just another person going through the motions, working as a pediatric nurse, attending church on Sundays, and living a life I thought was typical. But on October 15th, 2023, everything changed when I died for 7 minutes and 42 seconds. During that brief moment in time, I witnessed something so extraordinary that it has forever transformed my understanding of the world. That morning is etched in my memory like it was yesterday. The air was cool with the crisp bite of autumn, and the sunrise painted the sky in brilliant oranges and pinks, as though the heavens were anticipating something. I was on my usual route to work, driving down the familiar stretch of Highway 27, one I had traveled 100 times before. The radio played softly, and I think it was an old hymn, Amazing Grace. It seems almost too perfect in hindsight, considering what was about to unfold. Then, in a flash, it happened. I never saw the truck coming. Later, I learned that the driver had fallen asleep at the wheel, crossing the median and colliding head-on with my car. But in those final seconds, all I remember is a blinding flash of metal, the deafening crash of crushing steel, and then an overwhelming peace. The kind of peace I had never known before. A peace that embraced me completely, as if everything had been set right. The transition was instantaneous. One moment, I was in my car, and the next, I was floating above the wreckage. I looked down at my own body, broken and still strapped in the driver's seat, while emergency lights flickered in the distance. The red and blue beams danced across the pavement, casting eerie shadows in the early morning light. But it wasn't the sirens or flashing lights that caught my attention. It was something else, something extraordinary. Surrounding my car, filling the space with an almost tangible presence, were beings of light, not the cherubic angels you see in paintings or Christmas cards, but something far more magnificent. These beings radiated light and love so pure, so intense, that no human words could ever do justice to what I felt. Their presence was both powerful and gentle, and I could sense they had been there long before the accident even took place. As I floated there, mesmerized by their presence, one of the beings turned to me. Describing what they looked like is nearly impossible. They weren't static, but fluid, like living light, constantly shifting and morphing, taking forms that defied all logic and understanding. The feeling that washed over me was one of profound familiarity, like meeting an old friend I'd somehow forgotten, but who had always been there. "Welcome, Adeline," the angel communicated, though not with words, but with pure thought and emotion directly entering my consciousness. There was no mistaking it. This presence knew me, and it was guiding me. There is much for you to understand about your journey and the protection that surrounds all of God's children. How could I have gone through life without realizing all of this? I wondered. How many times had I walked through my days oblivious to the forces working to keep me safe? Then another angel appeared, my guardian angel, as I would soon learn. In that moment, I felt a sudden, overwhelming recognition. This being had been with me from my very first breath, and I could now recall their presence in every single moment of my life. Every time I narrowly avoided disaster, every inexplicable urge to take a different path, it had been this angel guiding me, protecting me. Would you like to see? My guardian angel extended what I can only describe as a hand of light toward me, radiating warmth and invitation. Would you like to understand how we work in your world? I nodded, or at least intended to nod, though it's curious how we still cling to human gestures, even when we no longer have a physical body to carry them out. What exactly did my angel mean by how we work? I couldn't help but wonder. And in that moment, we began a journey that defies words, a journey through time, space, and reality itself. But this wasn't a journey as we know it. This was something far more complex. The first vision that unfolded before me was of my own life, but not from my perspective. I saw myself as a toddler, reaching for something dangerous, only to be gently redirected by my guardian angel toward a safer toy. I saw myself as a teenager, about to climb into a car with a drunk friend, and suddenly feeling nauseous, which led me to call my parents for a ride instead. But these were just the big moments. The more I watched, the more I saw how my angel had worked in the quiet, everyday occurrences, quiet whispers of guidance I had never noticed. Had I been receiving these signs all along and simply ignored them? I wondered. How many of those gut feelings had been my angel guiding me without my realizing it? I saw them inspiring kindness in those around me on my darkest days. I watched how they seemed to orchestrate the coincidences in my life, the chance encounters with just the right person at just the right time, or the perfect piece of advice that arrived when I needed it most. But this is only part of what we do, my guardian angel said. Now, watch and understand the greater battle. The scene shifted dramatically. I suddenly saw the world as my angel saw it, layers upon layers of reality coexisting at once. What we think of as our physical world was only one thin veil over a vast, intricate tapestry of existence. In these other layers, I saw something that both terrified and awed me. Spiritual warfare taking place all around us. Invisible battles were happening constantly. Angels locked in combat with dark forces, entities bent on harm, discouragement, and destruction. These weren't battles fought with weapons or fists, but with light against darkness, truth against lies, hope against despair. How had I never noticed this before? I wondered. All the time, these battles were happening right under my nose, yet I was completely unaware. I watched as angels fought tirelessly to protect not just individuals, but entire communities, nations, and the earth itself. Then the scene shifted again. I was shown hospitals, my very own workplace, taking on an entirely new dimension. Angels stood by patients' bedsides, comforting the dying, strengthening the weak, and even participating in miraculous healings, aligning their actions with God's will. I saw them inspire doctors with sudden insights and guide nurses' hands through delicate procedures. Your work as a nurse, my guardian angel explained, has been a partnership with us. Had I always been working alongside them without ever knowing? I marveled. What other ways had they been involved in my work, guiding me when I wasn't paying attention? I understood then that the times I'd felt a sudden, inexplicable gut feeling about a patient's condition, those were the moments we were communicating. Every time I felt compelled to check on a patient outside my usual rounds, it was them prompting me. They showed me specific moments when my decisions, seemingly random or instinctive, had actually saved lives. I saw how they worked through me to offer comfort to worried parents, to notice subtle symptoms that led to early diagnoses, and to be in the right place at the right time for life-saving emergencies. But what left me breathless, overwhelmed, was the sheer scale of their work. The battles they fought, the guidance they provided, the lives they touched. This vast, intricate web of protection and love was far more than I could have ever imagined. How many lives, how many angels are working behind the scenes, invisible to us, but always present? I thought, as the vastness of the truth began to sink in. I learned something truly remarkable. Each of us is assigned a guardian angel the moment we are conceived, a celestial companion who never sleeps, never tires, and never wavers in their mission to protect and guide us. These angels work in perfect harmony, creating an intricate web of guidance that stretches across the globe, an invisible network of light that touches every corner of the earth. But how do they balance our free will with their divine mission? I couldn't help but wonder. Angels, I discovered, never force decisions upon us. Instead, they gently present opportunities, shape circumstances, and inspire thoughts that could lead us toward wiser choices. They respect the freedom of human will, even when the paths we choose might lead to hardship. Remember, Adeline, my guardian angel explained, we are servants of the Most High. Our strength comes from Him, and our purpose is to help fulfill His divine plan for humanity. They rejoiced in our victories, shared in our struggles, and yet they never lost sight of the greater purpose. I witnessed how they often worked through others, inspiring random acts of kindness, a phone call at just the right moment, a stranger offering help when it was needed most. It was as if every act of kindness, every seemingly random encounter, was part of an intricate dance between heaven and earth, choreographed by divine hands. Could it be that even the smallest gestures are part of a grand design? I pondered. And how much of our world is shaped by unseen hands, guiding us toward what we need when we need it. The angels showed me how they watch over children with special care. I saw them surrounding schools, playgrounds, and homes, casting a shield of light that protected against darkness. They guided children's creativity and imagination, helping them connect with the spiritual realm more easily than adults, often sensing their angelic companion's presence in ways we might miss. I also witnessed the angels' role during natural disasters. While they couldn't prevent every calamity, after all, some serve purposes beyond our understanding. They were always there, minimizing loss and guiding human kindness in the aftermath. What could be the purpose of suffering, I wondered, and how can angels be both protectors and guides through such pain? The angels showed me how they operate in moments of crisis, car accidents, health emergencies, potential crimes, and I was astounded by what I saw. They could slow time in the smallest of moments, guiding reflexes and steering people away from danger. When prevention wasn't possible, they orchestrated swift responses, guiding emergency services to the scene with precision. How often had angels guided me without my awareness? I thought. How many times had they saved me without me even knowing it? What fascinated me most was the way they communicated with each other. When one angel sensed a potential threat to their charge, they would immediately send word to other guardian angels, setting in motion a chain of events that might prevent the danger. Could it be that our lives are like pieces on a grand cosmic chessboard, with angels working behind the scenes to guide us toward the safest paths? I was shown how angels work through dreams, using our sleeping hours to process trauma, offer solutions to unresolved problems, or prepare us for the challenges ahead. I saw them inspiring artists, musicians, and writers, breathing divine creativity into human expression. How much of our creativity is truly our own, and how much is inspired by the angels working through us? Even in the realm of technology, angels had a hand in shaping our world. I saw how they guided inventors and creators, often prompting the development of apps, tools, and innovations that would help countless people in ways their creators never intended. How many breakthroughs are the result of divine inspiration rather than human ingenuity alone? Angels also work through animals, especially service animals and pets that provide emotional support. They can guide animals to offer comfort, warn of danger, and even act as conduits for healing energy. What role do animals play in our spiritual protection? I thought. Are they more connected to the divine realm than we realize? As my journey continued, I was shown how angels battle invisible forces, spiritual warfare that happens beyond our sight, but influences everything we experience. These dark forces seek to destroy, discourage, and deceive. But the angels fight back with a weapon stronger than anything else: love. How could love be a weapon, I wondered? And how is it so powerful in the unseen battle against darkness? The angels revealed how they work in churches and other places of worship, where they strengthen faith, inspire hope, and facilitate encounters with God. But they also work in the most unexpected places, like a bar, where someone contemplating suicide might find hope through a stranger's kindness, or a prison where hearts are transformed, or on the streets where homeless people find help when they least expect it. I saw how angels interact with time itself. They can see not only the present, but potential futures, guiding us toward the best possible outcomes while always respecting our free will. How do they manage to weave together all the threads of time, steering us toward a future we cannot yet see? They showed me how they arrange divine appointments, those moments when we meet exactly the right person at exactly the right time, when paths cross for a reason beyond our understanding. The angels revealed how they work within families, strengthening bonds, fostering reconciliation, and protecting children. I learned that sometimes they even work through loved ones who have passed on, allowing them to continue watching over us from the other side. I saw how angels were present in moments of death, not just for those passing peacefully in their sleep, but in accidents, wars, and hospitals. They ensured that no one ever died alone. Even if loved ones couldn't be physically present, they guided souls and comforted the dying, sometimes even allowing people to glimpse loved ones who had already crossed over. I realized that angels celebrate every victory we achieve, not just the big ones, but the small choices. Every moment of growth, every act of kindness, every time we choose love over fear. They celebrate when we resist temptation, when we forgive, or when we step out in faith. As my experience unfolded, I saw how heaven and earth are interconnected, working together in ways we can't begin to understand. How many forces are at play in the grand design of the universe? I wondered. How much of our journey is guided by the unseen hands of angels? And how much are we merely walking through the patterns they've already set? The angels showed me how they move through the digital age, working through the very tools we use every day. Social media, technology, and online interactions. It's astounding how, in this fast-paced, interconnected world, they inspire people to share messages of hope and connect with others in need of encouragement. I saw how even seemingly random encounters in the virtual world could be orchestrated by the angels to create life-changing connections, offering help or solace exactly when it's needed most. As my journey through the spiritual realm drew to a close, my guardian angel shared a final message with me, one that echoed deep within my soul. "You're going back, Adeline. Your work here isn't finished yet. But remember what you've seen. Share it. Help others understand that they are never alone, never abandoned, never without hope." In that moment, I felt a powerful pull, as though gravity itself were drawing me back toward my earthly body. But just before I returned, I was granted one final gift, a glimpse into the infinite, overwhelming love God has for humanity. It was so vast, so all-encompassing, that I could hardly process its depth. I saw that the angels are simply expressions of this love, tirelessly working to guide us, protect us, and bring us closer to our divine purpose. Suddenly I was back. The transition was jarring. I gasped, struggling to breathe as I woke in the hospital, surrounded by the beeping of medical equipment and the concerned faces of doctors and nurses. I had been clinically dead for 7 minutes and 42 seconds. They called it miraculous. Now, I understood why. Since that moment, the world has never looked the same. I now notice the subtle fingerprints of angelic intervention all around me. Timing that seems too perfect to be coincidental. Random encounters that feel divinely orchestrated, and inexplicable moments of protection that stop me in my tracks. I've learned to trust those gentle nudges, the gut feelings, and the quiet moments of peace or warning. I'm sharing this not to dwell on my experience with death, but to help others see the incredible love and protection that surrounds us. Love that's always present, even in the unseen. Angels are real. They are constantly active, working tirelessly on our behalf. They are reaching out to us in ways we often can't comprehend, but they want us to know one thing: we are never alone. Heaven is closer than we think, and God's love is more real, more active, and more present than we can imagine. My experience has shown me that life is far more miraculous, far more protected, and infinitely more purposeful than we often realize. Every day, armies of angels are fighting for us, guiding us, protecting us, not just from harm, but helping us fulfill our divine purpose. Every person's life has meaning. Every soul is precious, and no one is ever truly alone. I've returned to my work as a nurse with new eyes. I no longer see myself as just treating physical bodies. I see myself as a part of a much greater divine work, a partnership with angels to bring healing, hope, and love to others. Now, I pay closer attention to those subtle promptings, those unexpected urges to check on certain patients or say words of encouragement when the timing feels right. I've learned to trust these whispers of the divine. The angels want me to tell you this: you are loved more than you can ever imagine. You are surrounded by protection more profound than you realize, and you are never, ever alone. There are angels watching over you right now, guiding you toward your best possible future, while always respecting your freedom to choose. They also want you to know this: prayer is powerful. The angels respond to it. They work with it. They use our prayers to shape the unseen world and help us in ways we may never fully understand. Every act of kindness, every choice made in the name of good, every moment of faith, these matter more than you can fathom. So, the next time you feel a sudden urge to reach out to someone, take a different route. or pause for a moment longer. Listen closely. When you experience a seemingly inexplicable coincidence or a moment of unexpected help, remember, these are often the fingerprints of angels at work in your life. My near-death experience revealed to me that we are surrounded by more love, more protection, and more purpose than we could ever imagine. While we may not always see our guardian angels, they see us, they love us, and they are always working on our behalf, guiding us with love, even when we don't know it. Thank you for your listening.